Bok, I am what I am, Cricket Talk. Well, to start off with, I'm Nikita, and the show is what a fairly longish title suggests. You know that in the medieval era, the eternal light told Moses, I am what I am. And in the current scenario where cricket is definitely a religion and players demigods, we begin a journey to find out more about our modern master.
Oh, it's all day. Cover drive, just classic. Put nicely, that's a very well struck.
And the guest of honor today is the #1 player of the #1 team, Ricky Ponting of Australia. Who scored hundreds like daily soaps, and his team has dominated world cricket for over 10 years. How does he make it happen? What is his formula? Well, formula number 54 lies in I am what I am.
Ricky, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
You are the #1 team in the world. Do you feel threatened at times or just on your guard?
Oh no, it's a nice feeling, obviously, to be ranked #1 in the world, but it's not as easy as it sounds. A lot of hard work goes into to being recognised as being the #1 team, and one I think theory and philosophy the team sort of runs and operates by is that although we are #1, we try and train and prepare as if we're #2. So as long as we keep doing it that way, then I think hopefully we'll stay a couple of steps ahead of the pack.
Ricky, you were part of the World Cup winning Australian side, and of course then went on to captain the World Cup winning Australian side. What is that elusive formula that the rest of the world is looking for?
Yeah, look, I've been lucky through my career. I've played in 3 World Cups and been lucky enough to make it through to the final every time. So, we lost the first one to Sri Lanka and we've won the last 2. And the last one was probably one of the most special moments of my career. To go through a World Cup undefeated as a captain was a great honour and a great thrill. And what is it that makes us get through? I'm not sure. It's being able to play your best cricket in pressurised situations, and I think our players are very experienced and have all been in those sort of situations a lot of times before, and when those tough moments do come up, then hopefully we know the way to get out of them. And I say it all the time about our team that we end up getting ourselves in as much trouble as any other team in the world, but somehow we manage to get out of it.
Well, they say that success has many fathers and failure is an orphan. So did you feel like one when you lost the Ashes?
Oh, we probably did. We probably all did a little bit, yeah. It was a disappointing moment. As I said, I just spoke about one of the best moments of my career, and the Ashes loss would certainly be one of the worst. So the good thing about it, though, is we've got a chance to redeem that.
Well, a lot of people feel that Australia is at a very vulnerable stage. You just lost to the West Indies in the Tri-Series in Malaysia, and of course a lot of your key players are going to retire very soon. Do you have a plan of action for that? How do you take that?
We only lost 1 game in that Tri-Series. We actually won the final of the Tri-Series and won the competition. So, the thing that we always say about one-day competitions is just to be able to win enough games to make it through to the final. We know you're not going to win every game of one-day cricket. That's, it's not possible with the way the game is set out. But look, I don't think we're vulnerable at all. We wouldn't be picking these guys if we didn't think that they were the best players in Australia, and they've performed such a level for such a long period of time and continue to do that, the younger guys around Australia aren't forcing them out. I mean, the day will come when they will retire, and we'll have a few big gaps to fill with Gilchrist and McGrath and Warne and those sorts of players. But look, I know that we've got adequate replacements back in domestic cricket in Australia, and it will be an exciting time when some of those younger players start playing.
England clinched the Ashes after an 18-year gap. Should Ricky Ponting be held responsible for that mortifying defeat?
Ricky, coming back to the Ashes, what went wrong?
We made mistakes that the team's not used to making, I guess, and I was talking about those pressurised situations before that we normally turn around. We didn't turn them around in that one series. We put lots of catches down, we took lots of wickets off no balls. When we had batting partnerships going, we just managed to make a crucial mistake that cost that partnership stopping and having another new batsman in there. So it was those sort of moments right through the series that cost us. And when you look back, I mean, a couple of the test matches were decided by very close margins, and against the good team that England were in the last Ashes series, we just couldn't afford to make them. So I think we've come a long way to rectifying a lot of those mistakes we made.
Now, looking ahead, what would you prefer to win? The World Cup 2007 or the Ashes?
I'll take both. I can't separate either. And you know, with the World Cup, it's the ultimate of the one-day game that you play, and as the Ashes is the ultimate of Test cricket for Australians. So I can't separate them. It'd be nice just to be able to win both competitions, if not at least one of them.
Now, if you could pick one team from around the world, which one would you say is going to be the biggest threat to Australia?
One team to be a threat to us in the World Cup. Well, I think right at the moment, South Africa are the number 2 ranked team in the world. We will be playing in conditions, I think, in the West Indies that will probably suit the subcontinental teams. So I think you've always got to look at India and Pakistan and even Sri Lanka to a certain degree in those sorts of conditions, because they do handle those conditions very well. So I'd be surprised if the winner didn't come out of those teams I've just mentioned. I think you know, they are very, very good cricket teams anyway, and you know, the best teams generally win World Cups, so they'd be the teams that I'd be looking at.
Ricky, you were once quoted that you don't even know when Cricket Australia board elections are held.
Board elections? Is that as far as selecting captains or selecting the people that go on the boards? Yeah, look, I'm not sure how that whole thing works, and that's not a detrimental thing to Cricket Australia. It's I guess the players are really just worried about what we have to worry about as players, and the board and the members will look after themselves and look after the running of the game in Australia. But it's really important that we don't have too many distractions as a playing group, and we focus on what we have to focus on and worry about the things that are important to us.
Now, clearly India is becoming a financial powerhouse when it comes to cricket, and of course there is a lot of politics that also takes place in our cricket. How would you compare cricket in both the countries?
Oh, look, it's hard to know. Look, I don't know much about the running of Indian cricket, obviously. As you say, I do know that it's a huge game in India, and you know, the cricketers over here are actually like movie stars over here, probably more so than they are back in Australia. But yeah, you can't. I can't compare it. I mean, I don't even know enough about how the game is run in Australia. I know that Cricket Australia have done a terrific job over the last couple of years of looking after grassroots cricket and club cricket and state cricket and up to elite players. I know they've done a great job with that, but I don't know enough to comment on the Indian setup.
How do you react to the theory that there is too much cricket being played around the world?
Look, I think it really just depends on the program you have as an international team. I think our program that we had last year or 18 months before our long break was probably just a little bit too hectic, and you know, I think there are some rules sort of or guidelines set in place at the moment through ICC and Cricket Australia, where I think it's maximum of 15 tests and 31 day games to be played for the year. And I think you know, last year we probably played 18 or 19 tests and well over 31 days. So last year for us was a really busy period. I think if it does stick to the 15 tests and 31 days, I think that's about, you know, the exact right amount. So, but we understand as well as international players that, you know, the game, you know, all the money is generated from the amount of games that you play. So, and you know, you just get up and do your best whenever you can. And you know, luckily for us, through that period of busy cricket last year, we didn't have many injuries, and we managed to win every series we played, except for the one-day series in South Africa. So we got through it pretty well. But hopefully the authorities do have a pretty close look at it and make sure that there's not too much cricket being played, because it's not just for the players' point of view either. I think the spectators can grow a little bit. It can grow a little bit old with them as well if you play too much.
Now, Ricky, with the advent of the 2020 cricket, what is the future of the 50-over game? Do you think that the two can coexist?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I actually think 2020 cricket will be good for the 50-over game. You know, I've only, you know, played probably 4 or 5 2020 games, and I must admit it's not my favourite game in the world, but I think the skills that you can pick up and learn in the 20-over game will come into the 50-over game and make that a more attractive spectacle as well, which will help everybody. It will obviously help the players. It'll be a more fun game to play, and the spectators and sponsors that are putting in all the money will really enjoy it more as well.
Now, you already have a specific ODI team and you already have a specific test team. Are you going to have a specific 2020 team as well?
You would probably imagine so, yeah. If the game keeps going the way it is and becomes a professional game, as they're talking with you know, World Championships of 2020 cricket and that sort of thing, then you do have to, you know, respect the game as much as you can. So you would be picking what you would think would be your best 2020 team.
Now, on a macro level, according to you, is world cricket on a downward slope, or is it going up?
I would imagine that it's going up at quite a rapid rate. I think the growth of the game in Australia certainly, and England after the last Ashes series, was quite dramatic. So you know, I think if another great series of Test cricket like that can be played, then I think that's only good for the game. And you everything's pointing to it being another terrific series in Australia. So if it is, hopefully participation levels, as I know, have increased dramatically in Australia, will go up once again.
एशेज तो एशेज हैं, तभी तो उन्हें हारने का इतना दुख हुआ है। पर कोई बात नहीं, जो 18 साल के बाद हारे उसे 18 महीनों में फिर वापस जीत गया। क्या बात है। वैसे हम तो 24 साल पहले वर्ल्ड कप जीते थे, राइट कपिल पाजी? अब तो वापस जीत लो। On Cricket Talk, the show where the superstars say I am what I am, we're gonna take a break. But stay put for the personal side of Ricky Ponting.
Coming up on Reebok I Am What I Am Cricket Talk, the personal side of Captain Ricky Ponting.
That's how I got the nickname. It was actually given to me by Shane Warne at the Cricket Academy when I was about 15 and stuck with me ever since.
Ricky the captain, Ricky the crusader of cricketing perfection, a leader and a shrewd thinker on the field. Let's find out what he is as a person.
How did you get nicknamed as punter?
It was basically through my love of greyhounds and horse racing. I own some greyhounds and actually got a share in a racehorse that won back in Australia yesterday. So that's how I got the nickname. It was actually given to me by Shane Warne at the Cricket Academy when I was about 15 and stuck with me ever since.
Did you own horses when you were 15 years old?
No, I didn't own them back then. No, I actually my family actually grew up racing greyhounds, and I grew up around greyhounds. So when I played enough cricket and earned enough money to be able to own a few of those myself, and I got into the ownership side of things as well. And over the years, I've had a few offers to take up some shares in racehorses, which I did. So that's only been the last few years, really.
Of course, we all know Ricky, the great cricketer. How is he like a person?
Oh, I think I'm pretty neutral, sort of relaxed sort of person. Probably away from the cricket ground, probably a little bit more intense on the cricket ground. But yeah, I think everyone would, or hopefully everyone would say that no matter if things are going well or things are going not so well for me, that I'll remain the same sort of person. I think I've remained the same person since the moment I started playing the game. So that's one thing I hope remains with you until the day that I finish the game.
Now, from being a flashy middle-order batsman for the Australian team to being the captain of the Australian team, what was the journey like?
Look, it's been a terrific journey, no doubt about that. There's, as I said, been lots of ups and downs with your form and the way you play the game and that sort of thing. But the last few years for me, I've found probably a new level of consistency. The consistency was the thing that probably dogged me earlier in my career, and batting down at number 6 was something that I just wasn't comfortable with. But since I've moved up the order to number 3, I've been able to be a lot more consistent there, and probably enjoyed playing the game a lot more there. And since the captaincy's come my way, that's obviously been a great thrill and pleasure of mine to be able to captain the Australian cricket team. So I'm looking forward to doing that for a few more years yet. And I'm 31 at the moment. Hopefully there's a few more years ahead of me, and hopefully there's a few more wins for Australia down the track as well.
As a captain, who were the people that inspired you, or did you just look up to your predecessors?
Yeah, you do. You definitely look up to the other captains that you've played under, but I've been lucky to play in a great era of Australian cricket and play with some of the all-time greats of the game as far as Australian cricket's concerned. So, I remember touring the West Indies in 1995 as a 20-year-old at that stage, and just sitting back and watching Steve and Mark Waugh go about their work, or Mark Taylor and David Boone, that sort of thing. And you can only sit back and learn a lot from those sort of guys. So that's where a lot of my cricket came from.
Now, your recent outburst on the cricket field has attracted a lot of attention. So, are you out to reinvent the term ugly Australian?
No, certainly not. I think it's been a lot more made of that issue than it actually deserves to be, I think. It was a bit of a discussion with an umpire over a wide call. I think there are a lot bigger things to be worrying about in the game around the world than me asking the umpire about a wide call. So that's certainly what I'd like to get across to everybody anyway, that there are other issues going on that should be taking up more space in the newspaper or on TV channels than me talking to an umpire.
Being the captain of the best team in the world is not a walk in the park. Aggression, attitude and antipathy are traits that all come in handy, and Ricky not afraid to voice what he really is.
What got you all agitated in the Sachin Tendulkar incident when he was given out?
Oh, I just think it's something that you don't see very often. It's very seldom do you see an umpire change his decision, especially when a batsman's 3/4 of the way off the field. So, you know, we actually thought that we had Sachin out at that stage, and as you know, he's a pretty important player for the Indian team, and it was a big breakthrough for us to have at that early stage of the game. So, when the umpire gave him out and then took his time to change his decision, it sort of caught us all a little bit off guard. So. You know, I was as shocked as anybody else, I guess, in our group at that stage. And Mark Benson, the umpire, actually called me out of the group to explain why he's changed his decision. And once he'd told me that, of course you're going to be disappointed. But at the end of the day, looking at the replays, it looked like he made the right decision. I actually congratulated him for that later on. So, you know, I guess although you don't see it very often, it happened there, and we had to deal with it there and then.
Now, on a personal front, what does Ricky enjoy doing? What is he passionate about?
Well, as I said, I think I'm very passionate about the game of cricket, and I'm very passionate about being the best captain, best player that I can for Australia, and also passionate about spending a lot of time with my wife, and very passionate about the game of golf, and very passionate about the game of Australian rules football. So they're the things that really occupy most of my time, and yeah, we'll continue to.
On tours and in public, the Australian seems to show a lot of bonding and a lot of friendship. But what happens when there's a hiccup? What happens when there is altercation? How do you guys resolve it? How do you go about it?
Well, there's never any altercation or hiccups amongst the group or amongst the team as far as players not getting on or anything like that. I mean, it's been one of our strengths over the years, has been just how well the players have got on together, and it's a pretty important aspect of being an international sportsman. You know, we spend probably 9 or 10 months of the year together, so it's vital that you all get on well. And if you do get on well, you enjoy each other's success, which is another vital part of a good team. So, if anyone steps out of line, I guess it's up to me or the coach to pull them back into line. Or if it's me that steps out of line, it's important for me to stand up and let the guys know that it's not acceptable, which obviously I did after the little issue in Malaysia. But yeah, hopefully a lot of that stuff doesn't go on anymore anyway.
Well, I keep coming back to the Ashes, but it seemed that you took the loss very, very personally, and your family helped you out a great deal to get out of that. Just take us through that.
No, I'm not sure if I took it personally. Look, I think everyone, as I said, was equally disappointed as the next person was. So all you can do is, I guess, get at home and have a look at yourself and have a look at the way you performed and try and make yourself a better player next time around. I know that's what I've done. I know that's what all the other players have done as well, and will continue to do. And as I said, it's not all about for us what's happened in the past. It's about what we've got coming up. And I know, even though it was hard to deal with it at that time, we've all processed that and got that done and out of the way, and now it's looking forward.
Ricky, which has been your most memorable moment in cricket?
Oh, look, as I said, I've been lucky to play in a great era and generation of Australian cricket, and there've been lots of positives to come from it. But I never put anything that I've done above anything that a team has achieved, and I think us winning a Test series in India was as good as anything that we've done as a group, and I didn't play much of a part in that. I had a broken thumb, was sitting at home watching the first few Test matches, but I think little things like that, and Brett Lee actually credits me with the turnaround in his bowling, which is another thing that you can never replace. To have someone actually come out and say that a conversation we had together, or a bit of some stuff that we did tactically out in the field, has actually changed the way that his Test career has gone, then I think that's just about the ultimate compliment or thing you can achieve out of the game.
Now, Ricky, if I even suggested the thought that Australia could lose another Ashes, would you want to punch me in the face?
No, I'm not that sort of person. No, look, we'll have to wait and see. I know that if we play the level of cricket that we're capable of, then we won't lose. So I'll leave it at
that. What lies ahead for Ricky Ponting?
Look, I'm looking forward to a few more years of international cricket. Obviously, it's my life and it has been for a long time, so I'm looking forward to playing as many games for Australia as I can, and as I said, hopefully being good enough and being a good enough player to win a few more games for Australia along the way. And they're the things that motivate me as a cricketer. So hopefully that's what's in the future for me.
Ponting became punter. Now we know how and why. Punter ko umpires pe gussa kyun aata hai? Now we also know that. Ponting thinks that cricket is on its way out. Well, there's lots more to find out. कैसे खेलेंगे वो हमारे बाउंसर्स और क्या है उनके लाइफ के इफ्स? Stay with us.
Coming up after the break, Ricky gets a taste of the medicine he prescribes to his ardent enemies. He will play bouncers, but right after this break.
If you could choose 3 cricketers from around the world to join your side, which ones would you pick?
Sit all day.
It's time now for the I Am What I Am contest. I'm going to ask you a question based on Ricky Ponting, and for that, I'm going to give you 3 options. How generous of me. Okay, the question is, how many chewing gums does Ricky Ponting have in a day? Okay, that's a really tough one. The real question is, what is Ricky Ponting's middle name? Is it A. Donald, B. Thomas, or C. Lawrence? SMS RBK1 space A, B or C as your choice of answer and SMS it to 3636.
The lucky winner gets the RBK English Willow Bat and with the gift voucher from Chirag Din. Australia is to cricket what Lennox Lewis is to boxing. Knocking his opponents out is Ricky's forte, and he has no qualms to say, I am what I am. We are talking to Ricky Ponting.
Ricky will be playing a small game with you. You've played a lot of bouncers on the cricket field. It's time to play a few bouncers on the sofa. So Ricky, I'm going to be giving you 2 options and you have to pick one of the 2, and you can also tell me why. So shall we? The first one is money or glory?
Well, I don't actually go looking for either, but I guess you can. If you don't have money, you can't survive. So I'll go for money.
After retirement, cricket or any other interests?
Any other interests? I would have played enough cricket by the end of my career.
Teams you would love to beat, India or England?
England.
On tours, read a book to bed or late night party?
Neither.
Indian movie actresses or Hollywood actresses?
I don't know what to say there. Both. They're both equally as beautiful.
Sachin Tendulkar or Brian Lara?
I've always said I think Sachin's a better player.
We're on to our second over. I'll be saying one word and you have to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind after hearing that word. Indian movies.
Loud.
A tour to India.
Hot.
The Indian fans.
Crazy.
The World Cup.
Nice to win.
Wives on tour.
Lots of fun.
Lots of fun. Horse racing.
Lots of fun.
All right, we've played the second over successfully. We're on to our third over, which are the ifs of Ricky's life. And the first if is, if Alan Donald would have run the single in the 1999 semi-final.
Then we'd only have won 1 World Cup.
If you had to be born in a different era of Australian cricket, which one would you choose?
The next one.
If Kasparowicz had got the ball past Jones, second test in the Ashes.
We might have won that series 5-0.
If you could choose 3 cricketers from around the world to join your side, which ones would you pick?
Flintoff, Murali and Sachin.
If I left you to bring one innovation in cricket, which one would it be?
One innovation in cricket. Maybe bring back 2 brand new white balls in 50 over games.
All right, Ricky, thank you so much for sparing your time. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks very much.
A good batsman, a good captain, and a very good talking man is Vineet Ponting. Let's give it to him for sharing those unknown details and most importantly, the key formula to win. क्योंकि कहते हैं ना, जो जीता वही सिकंदर. Indian team, कुछ तो सीखो इनसे. Well, it's time for me to say bye-bye on Cricket Talk, the show where the superstars say, I am what I am.
Next on Reebok I Am What I Am, the first man from South Africa to reach 400 Test wickets is who we meet next on Reebok I Am What I Am, the Cricket Talk.
But I suppose there was always a sort of push in the cricketing direction due to the fact that my uncle and father had both played. So I was never forced, but I was actually probably the best at cricket out of all the sports I played.
This has been a Z Sports presentation.